Welcome to session 2 of The Journey Within. This is the hero's journey inwards. Find your true purpose, become your best self. I'm author Sonya Zappone. I'm a registered yoga teacher and certified meditation instructor, and I'm the author of this book and several other books, as well as some books of poems. This is session 2, so if you haven't watched session 1, you can go back. And if you haven't watched the introduction to The Journey Within, those are 2 other videos, the introduction in session 1 that you can go back and watch and do those practices. But I'll do a little recap in session 2. Here are some of my other books. The Soul Doesn't Need $1 Million, 7 Secrets to Access Power Within You, and Discover Purpose and Meaning in Work That You Love. The Hero's Journey Inwards is like a follow-up book, and it's really a targeted transformational journey. We have Mr. Joseph Campbell, the man, the myth, the legend, who discovered a monomyth, discovered similarities, discovered the power of myth for teaching and self-identification and self-actualization. We'll like to always thank him for his work, his ground-laying foundational work. This is the hero's journey inwards, and I believe there's a hero's journey inside of each one of us. And as you look at the world, you can see how the world needs heroes today. And the premise is that we need to save ourselves first before we can go out saving others. So how do we achieve a hero's mindset? And that's really what you're going to master, is the hero's mindset, and know all the 24 steps and stages of the hero's journey, from an ordinary person to an extraordinary person. I love this quote by Mahatma Gandhi: the best way to find yourself is lose yourself in the service of others, because the world does need heroes. And we want to access what's needed to bring out the best in us, which means we have to get into the soul, out of the ego and into the soul. That first introduction video gives you some great visuals that I've drawn and that I've had created for you to really see the different parts of yourself and how you might be battling these different parts. Love this quote by Carl Jung: he or she who looks outside dreams, and who looks within awakens. And so we're waking up to the hero within us, and that hero light is contained within the soul. So you might start looking at your life as one big hero's journey, and first your quest is to save yourself and get to your soul, and then you can help and reach out, saving others, maybe even the world. So here's some of the general hero's journey steps and stages, and you can see it in popular movies. You start right here with the average person hearing the call, and that average person refusing the call, and then you meet a mentor. And hopefully this is me. I'm going to guide you through some of these crossing the threshold and the purge, and getting spiritual provisions, and dealing with temptations. And you're going to come back with the boon, the magic elixir. And then you're going to live as a master of 2 worlds. So your soul and you are this traveler, and you can look at your life as one big hero's journey. We take this, if you do this right and you do this fully, you take it several times in your lifetime. And we take the hero's journey to generate the best part of ourselves. We want the death of the ego being in charge, like a humbling of the ego to the soul. And you want to bring back the elixir of your soul. So that's what the hero's journey looks like, when you go from this ordinary world into a special world. And for us, it's your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And we'll talk more about it, because this is a self-paced, focused journaling journey to get to the center of you. And you've seen my graphic about the layers, and this ego is to protect that sensitive center. It's going to do battle. It's going to have judgments. It's going to have anger. It's going to have fears, to protect that inner layer. But we want to get to that inner layer of ourselves. That's who we want in charge. That's who we want at mission control. That's who we want to access daily to get guidance. And we need that guidance on the hero's journey inward. So here it is. The journey of consciousness, you're going from your ego and you're coming back up with your soul. Let me go back to that. And yes, a journey of 1,000 miles does begin with a single step. So you have probably seen the first intro journaling assignment. It was heavy. It's write your own obituary, but do it lightheartedly, because we want to look at how well did we live? How did you live? Because this is what they're going to say about you after you're gone. Are you leaving a legacy? Are you just someone that touched down on the earth and is gone? It doesn't, your obituary doesn't say what you owned, any assets, any physical, tangible items. Basically, a well-written obituary is how you served, how you gave, and that service and giving is from the soul. So it's a heavy journaling assignment, but I've done this several times, and my goal is to live up to what I want them to say about me. And this hero's journey inwards is going to be like a spiritual overhaul. We are going to pull out the spiritual part inside of you. So there's 2 more journaling assignments in this session. But if you haven't done the write your own obituary, stop, pause this video, go read some local obituaries online to get some inspiration, and you'll see it writes down what a person loves, how a person loved, what a person loved, dogs, people, sections of the community that really needed a hero. So take some time to look at your life and maybe write this. And this is the goal, to live up to this obituary. Now, some people, like it said, what would you say if you were on Oprah? They finally interviewed you. They wanted your memoir, your life's work. What would you say on sitting on Oprah's couch or in front of Oprah? That's another way to look at this. And we want to be true to our soul, and there's many names for the soul, so pick one if it's your true self. It's this, I call it in an acronym, sacred oneness of uniting light. So we're going for the soul here, and we're trying to get out of the ego. That's just a way to remember it. And so session 1, we had you do this transformational journaling. So you write from the ego, so you can hear and see and acknowledge the ego's fears and hangups, hurts, habits, and hangups of the ego. And then you write from the soul. And this is transformational journaling. And this is the hero's journey inwards. And we have to get through those layers. Remember, we have to acknowledge the ego. We can't just run or hide from our own darkness. It's inside of us. It needs to come out. And it also needs, like we all need, a holy witness. And so with your soul, you're going to acknowledge these parts of yourself with compassion. And that light and love of compassion is going to help heal you on the inside, make peace with all the pain inside. So journaling, I can't say enough about journaling, private journaling, having a journal as a companion. I have a place to vent my fears. I have a place to access my soul. So if you don't have an assigned journal, get an assigned journal. You can get them at a local bookstore or online, get something beautiful, maybe with an inspirational message on the front. Journaling is this journey that we're taking. So here are the ego's journey to the soul steps that I've identified. So what steps can we take to become a hero? And we did the first 3 in session 1. So let me go back. Acknowledge the presence of your soul, acknowledge the existence of the ego, and admit the power struggle within. So you can confess, just like in a 12-step program, your life is unmanageable, or you're lost, or you're stuck, or you're directionless, or you're getting no guidance. All you hear is your ego talking to you of how you've missed out, how you failed, how you missed the mark, how you disappointed everyone, how you disappointed yourself, how you never reached any goals, how you failed. That is all from the ego. And usually the ego goes after those tangible items, the car, the house, the shiny stuff. And like one of my spiritual teachers is, we don't go through life with a shopping cart. That's my first book, The Soul Doesn't Need $1 Million. Life is not grab a shopping cart and acquire as much as you can. You can't get buried with it. Like the pharaohs in Egypt, we don't get buried with our stuff. And so now we're down into these other steps, practicing self-care, taking care of the animal, finding a higher power that we can attach to, lean on, and separating ourselves from the ordinary world. And that's what journaling does, because you can't really journal in a group. I mean, you can all do it separately, but you have to go inside yourself. So we're here at Practice Self-Care. Take care of the animal part of you. You are human after all. So let's go to that. The animal. You see the ego and the soul. You're fully human, fully divine. I think that's what they mean by when they say fully human, fully divine. Here you are, an animal split with darkness and light inside, and you still need the basics of what an animal needs. So session 2 here, we're going to write the care and feeding of you. And we all need food, water, shelter, rest, and sleep. We can't ignore this, because if our health fails, we can't take any of our soul to service, because we're too shriveled up, or we're burnt out, or we're tired because we didn't practice self-care. So we need the self-care. We need the self-discipline to practice the self-care. And if you want to take this adventure, your animal has to be strong enough. So you have to practice, implement, and do self-care to take care of this animal part of us. We are individually designed, so we have these traumatic experiences. We have this unique archetypal patternings inside of each one of us. It makes us different. The diversity in each one of us is what keeps our society functioning, growing, thriving. So you might need certain care. So you might need socialization where other people need solitude. So you need to know what you need. Some people need a heavy, hard workout at a gym on an elliptical machine, and some people need long walks down in nature by the river. They need strolls. So in the care and feeding of you can change day to day. You might need to take a nap instead of a walk. You might need sleep for 2 months instead of heavy exercise, because you're an animal. You're going to get viruses and colds and infections, and the animal has to be taken care of. So we have to master the art of living, surviving, and thriving. We have to take care of ourselves, and we need to know what that is. So this is our first journaling exercise. You can pause this video after you hear the instructions. It's, what do I need for self-care? Now write it as a list. Write it as a list. And you can always come back and write yourself a little note to self. So you need to take this trip within, but if you're hungry, if you're tired, if you're angry, lonely, you know, the HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and I say HALTs, stressed with an S, you might have to acknowledge all that first. Now, what's great about an accountability buddy versus a spiritual director, a therapist is a great accountability buddy, because they're going to remind you, oh, did you take care of yourself first? Did you put the oxygen mask on first? You can get an accountability buddy, and we'll have many groups and stuff for you to access an accountability buddy for self-care. So the hero does need self-care. Sometimes this hero is down and out and sitting in a cave just restoring, not on a mission, not holding a sword, not battling, not shooting any arrows. The hero is resting. And so maybe you need rest. Maybe you need time to yourself. If you've got young children, you might have to get help. And part of the hero's journey is asking for help. Multiple stages. You need help as a mentor. You need help to figure out how to get through the gates. You need spiritual assistance. You need allies. You need the wise elder. There's lots of help needed on the hero's journey. So if you have little ones, make sure you're getting those babysitters in place so that you can practice some self-care. So take a moment now, pause this, and write down what you need for self-care. Try to get 5 things, 10 things. Bonus if you can find 20 things that you need for self-care and start prioritizing them. Now we're on to the next journaling exercise, the need for a higher power. So we need to connect with a higher power. And just a little insight here, your soul is your connection to God. And God can be anything, nature, higher power, something higher, bigger than you. we need this higher power to go the distance. It is like a spiritual journey. So you will need help. And we need the help of something that's untouched by all the afflictions of the ego. So that's where this higher power comes in. And that's where many programs tell you to make contact, conscious contact with this higher power. I suggest a journaling exercise where you write a letter to yourself from your higher power's voice. So if you already have a relationship with a God of your understanding, you can sit down and write this letter. You can pause that now. If you're struggling with the concept of a God or a higher power, that is addressed in my book in the first part of the hero's journey inwards, giving you permission to access a higher power that fits your understanding, your belief system, that you can make peace with, because you will need to reach to this higher power for this spiritual path. So it can be nature, it can be the universe, it can be just the energy of love. So find something that you do believe in and connect to that voice, give it a voice. So that, I mean, if it only gives you a few words, they can be very powerful to hear those words from a higher power. So pause this and write from your higher power's voice to you. So this is step 5. So we're going from the basics of what you need as an animal to the basics of what you need on a spiritual path as a spiritual being, a higher power's connection. So pause that and see if you can get a letter to pause this video, see if you can get a letter to yourself from your higher power's voice. If you're back with us, this is something to share with your spiritual director. This is sacred. You need a holy witness. You might just be reading it to yourself in your own solitude, in the secrecy of your journal. But this is something to be kept close to your heart and guarded, so that no one can make you guess or second guess what you're hearing from your own higher power. So remember, the tools for connecting to the soul are very similar to, okay, if you have trouble connecting to a higher power, try the same tools I gave you in the first 2 videos for connecting to your soul, to a higher power. So meditation, prayer, worship music, I would say. Worship music can really help. Christian worship music, any music that calls God forth or higher power forth. Another one is the mantra music, like kirtan. That can also help. And we want these tools, yoga, any type of tools, the connecting for the soul can help you connect to a higher power. So go ahead and write maybe 1 or 2 of these down: meditation, prayer, yoga, stillness, retreat, nature, any spiritual readings from any sacred text, self-help, music, poetry, meetings, 12-step meetings. Always use a higher power in their steps for recovery. And or mentors. Now, you can have prayer partners. You can have mentors who are of a different religion that are very strong in their religious connection, and they can be the best ones for connecting to a higher power. Just watch out for spiritual narcissists or religious fanatics, for people trying to convert you to what their God says about you. You want to hear what your higher power says to your soul. That's what we're going for here. So you can pause this, add a few in, and then come back. Now, remember the session 1, transformational journaling. We did 5 minutes from the ego, and then 3 minutes from the soul. Where's that? Here it is. This is the one that we did in session 2. So you want to out the ego. So if you're stuck in anger, bitterness, confusion, write for 2 minutes in a vent session in that journal from the ego. Make sure you acknowledge that's where it's from. get that stuff out. It's like getting the poison onto the page or the pain onto the page. You're going through something difficult. You want to acknowledge it. You don't want to sweep it under the rug, go into denial, stuff it, shove it down. That can all be very toxic to your whole system. The whole animal can really become toxic with stuff that's been shoved down and not acknowledged. We want to bring things from the darkness up into the light to heal it, to dissolve it. So you can pause here and do that 2-minute vent session, or get onto a next page and write from the soul. And this will be your sharing. And this is the stuff you deeply feel at a deeper level than the anger. You can acknowledge the hurts. You can acknowledge the tears. This is where you might cry right here at the soul. You might find that compassionate heart. And then the bonus work is to connect to your soul and answer the question, what is it I need to know right now? So you can write this down on the soul page. What is it I need to know right now? And using those tools to get to the soul, maybe a song, write this question and then free flow with your pen, whatever comes out. You can pause this now and come back to this. So welcome back, because the next one is another transformational journaling exercise. And this is where we're going to do this in the next session a little bit more. This is what's coming up. When you write from story A, the average person, and you then write the same story, your own little mini biography from the hero version, it's amazing how you can take someone that had this average, ordinary, fact-based, boring victim, wounded ego life, and then talk about how they survived it, how they defeated the monsters and the giants, how they overcame this, how they got out, they got away. So we can tell our story. So this is a tip, and this is a tool, is to write a new story. So you write your story from the pain version, and then you write it from the overcoming the pain version of the same mini biography. And we try to keep it on one page, so it's not long and lengthy. It's short, concise, it's condensed. And I love Richard Rohr writes this in Quest for the Grail. He actually writes his own story of how he's just this average boy, but really he can write that same story from how he's a very special heroic boy. So just remember, whatever happened when you're writing story A, your little synopsis is not the end of your story, and it can be told quite differently from a heroic, mythical, sacred version, because the tests and trials that we went through in childhood were part of our heroic journey to becoming an adult. So you started off as a child and you got that call to adventure to become a teen or an adult, and you don't want to, and you want to stay a child, but we really do have to have those mentors grow up. And there's a lot of tests and challenges in childhood that prepare us for surviving to be an adult. So we're going to do that in the next session. So those were 3. You can join me on Facebook. And I do say like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, because there will be more videos, more sessions with journaling assignments that you can do. And we're going to do this in small group. We're going to do this with those accountability buddies. On Facebook, you can follow me. It just got started. So welcome to my Facebook page. You can pick up the book so that you have more focus on yourself. This can be part of self-focus, getting you into self-care. It's in paperback and it's on Kindle. And you can come to my WordPress, where I'll be writing more blogs. The newest one will be about a labyrinth, going through the labyrinth of ourselves. So the world needs heroes and the world needs you. I say take the hero's journey inwards. This is really about saving yourself and then coming up with your soul light, your hero light within your soul, to help save this broken world. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and type in the chat or leave me a message down below. What was the most helpful or insightful part of this video? So stay tuned for session 3, the next session, which will go over more steps and stages. So you're very brave for taking this journey inwards. It takes a lot of courage. It is heroic to do a deep dive within and see what's there. And we do need help staying on a spiritual path. So once you get on the spiritual path, you must stay on the spiritual path, because you will be thinking and doing things in ways that resonate with your soul, and the outer world will not understand them. The outer egoic driven world won't match up with the authenticity of your true self and your soul. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.